So this is a quick video just to explain how to do the paperwork for your Award in Education course. So you should have something, your Learn Achievement portfolio, which is here. I'm just going to flick through the main bits. So we're going to be doing of these units, we're going to be doing Unit 1, which is mandatory, understanding of the roles, responsibilities and relationships in education and training. This is assessed by worksheet, which you'll see in a minute. When you've spoken to your tutor, you can put the date of completion and then your tutor will sign it later. We're going to be doing option 2 here, so Unit 2, understanding and using inclusive teaching and learning approaches in education and training. So this is the bulk of the qualification. It's where all the kind of educational theory is about how we include and develop learners. So there's a worksheet to do here, there's a lesson plan, an observation, a session evaluation and a micro teach log. So I'm going to do a separate video on the lesson plan, but the rest of it we can cover here. And then if we go down a little bit further, we're going to do Unit 6, which is understanding the principles and practices of assessment, and we'll be doing the worksheet. Okay, so those are what we're going to go through. If we go down, your tutor will guide you through, they will complete it, and we will get to the worksheet. So here is the Unit 1 worksheet. So that is for the unit of understanding roles, responsibility and relationships in education and training. So it's just a worksheet to fill in, so go through each question. When you're doing these questions, notice the verb. So this is an explain question. So explains questions need a reasonable amount of detail. You need to explain how the thing works, and also look at the number of marks. So here there's 2 marks. So to get both your marks here, you're going to need 2 points, and both of those points are going to need to be an explanation of how the teaching roles and responsibilities in education and training. So you need to make 2 points, and it needs to be quite a long. I generally think explain questions need to be at least 2 sentences. So if you go down here, this is a summarise, so you'd be interested, take lots of detail, sum them up into a sentence or 2. Here's another explain question. Most of them are. Alright, so when you've done that, your tutor will mark that for you, and we'll move to Unit 2. So Unit 2, there's another worksheet to do. So you can see this is a describe question. So describe question means you don't have to be as detailed as explain. Explaining, you have to say how the thing works. In a description, you're just saying what it is. So you're looking at, in this question, 2 features of inclusive teaching and learning. Here we've got a compare question. So comparing strengths and limitations of the 2 teaching and learning approaches. You can see those listed in your manual. Just to make a lot of people miss this out, so you need to see what your specialism is. Could be fitness, could be bricklaying, electrical work, history, whatever you're teaching. We go down, so there's other questions about inclusive teaching, including ICT, resources, how to engage and motivate learners, and then some stuff on ground rules. So again, when you've done that, your tutor will mark that for you. So if we look at the next assessment, it is to create a lesson plan. So as I said earlier, we'll do a separate video on this, but you'll need to do a 45-minute plan, 45 to 60 minutes, sorry, a 60-minute plan for teaching and learning in your own area of expertise. And then you've got to do some justification afterwards. I'll cover that in a separate video. So you then include that, and then when you do your micro teach, you're going to do 15 minutes of that session. Alright, so it's often the first or the last, so you can include some of the objectives and the assessment of those objectives. So generally when you do your micro teach, you'd still then focus on maybe 1 or 2 of the objectives you've chosen for your whole 60-minute lesson, and pick out some of the parts you do. So you'll do your micro teach, then you will reflect on your practice, which I'll show you, and you'll take part in at least 3 more micro teaching sessions, so you can observe other people or you can do a practice lesson. So if we look at some of that paperwork, so this is what your tutor will use to observe your session. So they're looking for, are you applying teaching and learning approaches? Did you use resources? Have you used assessment methods to check your learners are making progress? Have you communicated with learners to meet their needs? Have you provided constructive feedback? Have you evaluated your own performance? And those are the criteria. So you can see they're quite basic, but they do. The point of this qualification is it gets you started in education. If we just go down a little bit further, this is the self-evaluation form you'll do after your session. So note the session, the outcomes, and the date, and then you can go down and look at these. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on it now, but before you do your session, have a look at these. Some of them are quite specific. ICT, for example, customised learning strategies for learners who needs it, etc. So have a look at that, then you can maybe make sure your session meets some of those points. So here's your microteach log. So remember, you have to complete at least 3 other 15-minute observations or practices, so you can note in who it is what you're observing, name of the tutor, what you saw, as much detail as possible, the date and the time, and then they will your tutor will sign it off. So you need at least 3 more of these completed, plus your own one. All right, so you need at least 4 of those boxes, but there's a 5th there and a 6th in case you do a bit more. That's all fine. So when you get to Unit 3, we're not doing Unit 3, so you can ignore all that, and you can go all the way to Unit 6. I'm just trying to... there we go. So, sorry about this. So here is our Unit 6 worksheet. Understand the principles and practice of assessment. So that's again a worksheet to complete like before. So again, look out for the verb. Is it explain or describe or list, and the number of marks available. Just make sure you're hitting those, and you should be able to submit this worksheet. And that is the end of your qualification. So remember, the qualification qualifies you to teach anything you're qualified in at FE level, and this unit here is also one of the units with the assessor qualification and is accepted by some awarding bodies as valid to start assessing. So I hope that helps. If you've got any problems, you can contact your tutor or contact through the classroom, and we can take it from there.